Hello, everyone, and welcome to the first episode of Paranoid Podcast. I'm here with my guest today.
Hi, I'm Jodie.
This is my mum, and she has been in several short films that I've done before. She was in a film I did called Lost Body, The Mangroves, which isn't on my channel anymore because of copyright reasons. She's also in The Darkness Looks Back and The Darkness Looks Back, The Evil Within. That is coming very soon. Anything else you want to say before we get started into the first episode of this very creepy podcast?
I was also on Lego Master Season 2.
Yes, you may have seen a video I did, an earlier video. I interviewed my mum and stuff about Lego Masters, but yeah, go check that out. I'll leave a link in the description. So, this is the first episode of many episodes that we'll be doing. I'm going to be focusing on Z Ward. It is a former mental institution in Adelaide, South Australia. Me and my mum went on a tour about a week ago, and we have an interesting, very, very interesting story to tell you.
So this is run by Haunted Horizons. It's a lady she's almost got 40 years experience. She has been in tourism. She has also studied paranormal activity since a very young age. And so this is our experience. That used to be called the Lunatic Asylum. It shut down in 1973. It's very politically incorrect, so she doesn't use those terms on her tour anymore.
Yeah, that is right. You can't, in this day and age, you don't use those terms. And, she doesn't see them as being those words. She sees them as just people with mental issues, people with, mental problems, nothing, like lunatic, you just don't use those sort of words anymore. But, yeah.
I think things back then in the day, things like depression, anxiety, or even schizophrenia and things weren't actually diagnosed yet. They weren't a thing. So they just said that you were mentally insane.
People, as Mum said, you don't know. They didn't know back then. They didn't use those sort of terms, and, they weren't proven or anything yet. So they just thought, there's something wrong with you. I'm going to lock you away. There was no, such thing as, stuff like that. But
having said that, some of the stories of some of the people that were housed there, they were very dangerous people. So
yes.
Some of them did need to be there, but also some of them probably didn't. It was just, mental health issues that this day and age are easily treatable, and there's help out there for them. But back in those days, it wasn't.
And, they just treated them like they were nothing and, didn't try and help them in any way. Just locked them up and didn't, want to listen or anything like that.
The cells that these people were kept in held 40-something patients, I believe. So all they had was a mattress on the floor, and they had a rubber potty because they didn't want them to be able to harm themselves.
Yeah.
And the windows had like a special mesh over them because they believed that air, was a
like
good thing.
Cure.
It was like a cure for mental illness. So they had a little window that would open. Only one little pane of it would open.
So they could get air, but, no chance of them escaping.
And, the mesh wasn't, it was like metal. So, yeah.
But yes, let's get to our story because, so about a week ago, we went on a 4-hour tour, and 2 of those hours she was showing us around and telling some history of the place. We did get 10 minutes at the start to go and explore and take some pictures by ourselves, and after that 10 minutes is up, we would come back and the tour would continue.
The reason she did that was she wanted us to experience what it felt like, if there was any rooms that felt strange to us, without her telling us any stories.
And putting it in our heads.
It in our heads. So we knew nothing about the place. We knew nothing at all. So this was at the very start before she even said a word. She just said, 10 minutes free time, go take photos and go see if you feel anything. And then it went from there.
Yep. So after the 2-hour first bit of the tour ended, she gave us each a cell. She said, from the free 10 minutes that we gave you, she goes, pick a cell that you may feel like you're drawn to in some way. So do you want to tell them what cell you picked and why?
I picked cell 23, and the reason was when I went into that room, my breathing changed and it felt hard to breathe. And I thought, this is really strange. I don't like this room. There's something not right. And I feel hard to breathe in here. And I am a bit of a skeptic. So didn't believe any of this stuff. And I'm like, yeah, okay, whatever. But when I walked into that room, I did feel my chest was heavy and it was harder to breathe.
Yeah, so that was her room.
I took these photos, just random photos, and I did not look at any of these photos until I got home later that night. Well, technically it was the next day because it was like 1 a.m.
Yeah.
So I didn't look at any photos I took. So I was snapping stuff. But afterwards, looking at the photos, I took a photo of the door and then I took a photo inside, which you could see in the window. There was a face in the bottom corner and it looks like a real old school male face, and it was bizarre. It made me go, what the heck? When I got home, I'm like, seriously. And then I showed other people. I said, oh, look at this photo I took. And they looked at it and went, there's a face in that corner. And I'm like, yeah, I know, but I didn't want to tell you that. So it was very strange.
Yeah, that was really weird. So I chose room 13. So when you go enter the building, it's to the right, and at the end of the hall, it's the last door on the left. There's a story behind this room. I'm not gonna tell you because I can't. But I don't know. I just felt this room was a bit weird. I don't know why I wanted to go in there. So I went in there. They closed the door. They don't lock it because this woman doesn't have the keys for these doors. So, if you were locked in there, there's no way of getting you out. So she closes the door and tells everyone to be silent for 5 minutes. And you stand in the room and don't say anything or do anything. You can just sort of listen, see if you hear anything, see if you feel anything. I personally didn't feel anything, and neither did you.
No, I didn't feel anything. Even after feeling hard to breathe when I first went in there, and that I still felt that a little bit when I first went in there. But then when the door was shut and I sat there for 5 minutes, nothing.
Yeah, I didn't and it wasn't that dark either because it was pretty bright outside. Like the clouds were really weird. It was sort of a light shining in, like a moonlight sort of shining in. It wasn't that dark in there. So nothing. We just walked out and just continued with our investigation with the ghost equipment.
So the ghost equipment, this was funny because there was meant to be 8 of us staying back. Yeah. And at the end of it, when she was saying goodbye to the rest of the people who weren't staying, see ya, thanks for coming, a group of 4 of them said, we're going to leave too. And the lady was very like, oh, did I do something wrong? And
she's like, oh.
And they're like, oh, no, we just want, we don't want to stay. They were that scared by her stories and the feeling that they got in there. They didn't stay back to use the equipment. So she has all different types of equipment that she lays pretty much in a big line throughout this bottom corridor.
Yeah, the first floor.
So we sit quietly on the sidelines. We won't get into everything that happens, but she did have a phone that had this app.
It's like a ghost tube app. It's a really, really good app, and she had it set up on a chair. Keep going.
But there was pictures that just it dings, the phone dings, and there's just random pictures that come up. And so we're like, well, what do they mean? So some of these pictures ended up being of a necklace and a bracelet, a pearl bracelet. There was 2 images of a woman. There was an image of 2 cots side by side.
Yeah, I saw that image and was like, that's a bit odd.
There was a creepy looking doll.
Yeah, that doll was like, what the hell?
Yeah, and then it was just all these random pictures, and I was thinking, what is all of this about? That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, and a person walking in the halls of a mental institution.
Yeah, actually, that was really quite bizarre. I'm thinking, well, that actually looks like the building we're sitting in right now.
And it was the same floor. The woman said in the picture it was the same floor of the building, and she was like, what the heck? Because they're just AI generated images. Like the app senses different things and it just tries and generates something into an image. Most of the time it's random, but For us, these images weren't that random at all, actually.
So it wasn't until later when I came home and went through my photos. Had one image which I took standing near the stairs, and there was a torch in the background because there's no lights. And I thought, that's really weird. What is that? And it was my shadow in the corner. And I know that I took this photo with no one else around.
Yeah, it was literally just me and her upstairs. I was in the bathrooms right at the end of the hall, at the other end of the stairs, and I was with a ghost app with the spirit box, and she was just by herself with the stairs. There was no one else around.
So in the corner is an image of it's a black shadow. And when you zoom in on it more, I'm like, it looks nothing like my shadow. This thing looks like it's wearing almost like a veil over its head. It's black. It's a bit
Very tall.
tall. It's see-through. And when you zoom in, you can actually see a foot.
You can. It's, yeah, as you can see on the screen. That's so weird.
Yeah, it's the shape of a woman's foot. And then I thought, wow, that looks like a movie. And I showed Cooper and I said, look at this. And we both said it's La Llorona.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's... Yeah, like, yeah, yeah, it was just like, it looks so much like her, and we're just like, that's a bit strange.
But so that is from, it's an old folk tale. It's also...
It's been around for years, like since the 1500s, this old tale of, a lady in white veil.
It's also part of the Conjuring.
Yeah, there was a movie. There was a really popular movie made about it. But yeah, our point's more of the folklore sort of tale, yeah. But there was a movie.
So having said that, with this image on my phone that I saw, and then thinking about, the actual La Llorona itself.
Yeah, just like the tale in general, really.
She was a mother of two. I'm a mother of two.
Yep, that is true.
Finding it hard to breathe. Now, look, she drowned, and she also drowned her own two children.
Yep, she drowned both of her kids after she found out that her husband was cheating on her, and then she drowned herself, which kind of makes sense. Yeah.
It very much looks like the shape of what, the old folklore images look like, the drawings and things that people have done. Very much looks like that. Also, the movie was based around 1973. The jail shut down in 1973.
That's just weird.
The two cots images.
We literally saw this image on the night.
The images that came up, the two cots. So she had two children. Yeah, the pearl necklaces, which that was in the movie as well.
Yep.
They used...
the movie's fictional, of course, but still.
Yeah, the movie's fictional, but the folklore is true, which is how they based the movie off of. It was just all these little random things that added up. And now the room that Cooper went in was room 13.
So the number 13 is the infinite life, death, and rebirth cycle, along with blood, fertility, and creation, are feminine cycles. This means that the number 13 holds significant meaning and power for women. So, like...
So having put all these things together, and as I say, it wasn't until I got home that I saw all this stuff, and then all of these things started making sense. All the photos that were coming up on the phone, the numbers of the rooms, and all of that, the hardness to breathe with the drownings. Cooper also, when we were doing the tour, felt really cold, and he felt a cold thing on his hands.
And that's literally a true thing. Like, I was sitting there, just in the chair, listening to the woman talk. All of a sudden, a really cold breeze was on my hands, both hands. And I was like, what?
And the cold breeze on her hands was...
On my hands.
On his hand. No, on his hands, but that could be related to her hands because she drowned her own children.
Yeah. You see, you don't really know about that hand thing, but that's seriously, like, Yeah, just like when you connect all the things that we sort of experienced together, and we only figured out this today. We only connected Lila Lorna to this today. We were literally looking at the picture, and we both said, it looks like Lila Lorna, and that was after a week, and it was only today that we actually tried to connect all these dots, and we're like, well, shit.
We were kind of freaked out ourselves, and I'm like, oh my gosh. But am I skeptic now? No, not so much, because I believe that whatever was there was female.
100%.
And I believe that I did capture something in that image. And I also, yeah, the way we both felt and everything adding up. So now I'm not so much a skeptic anymore. I believe that there was something there, and I believe that it was female. And it's just whether it's coincidence that all these things line up and make sense, or whether there was more to that, because we don't actually know the story behind all of the people that were there, whether there was females housed there, whether we don't know, because the records that the lady has access to stop in the late 1920s, and as we say, it didn't shut down until 1973. So there's a whole heap of records that she doesn't have access to. So I guess we'll just never know, but it's definitely opened up my eyes.
Yeah, it's very bizarre. That all of those things sort of connected to this one, Lila Rona, and it's like, it's very interesting when you think about it. Like, I don't know myself. Like, it could just be a coincidence. It could just be a massive coincidence that all these things happen. But you like, as well, you don't know anything that it could mean something. It couldn't mean something. You just don't know. But I don't know if there was something there with us or not. I feel like there was.
I believe there was. It's just the feeling you get in your gut. It's just, yeah, it's different and it's weird, and yeah, there was something there. So yeah, I think there's stuff out there. As we know, scientists only know 5% of this universe. There's 95% they don't know. And even the lady, after nearly 40 years of like in depth every day doing this for her whole life, doesn't understand it, doesn't know it all, doesn't, she can't say if there's things there or not. She's had her own experiences, but yeah. I believe that there's things there that we can't explain, and there are things around, and I don't think that whatever this was there to harm anybody. I don't think it was evil or anything. I just think, yeah, it was just there.
Yeah, sort of lurking in the shadows. Just, yeah, I don't know.
So are you a believer?
No, I don't.
You
I
don't
don't think
believe
so.
after all of that stuff?
No, I don't know. Like, you don't know until. Yeah, I don't really know what to think at this point. I'll keep looking, keep searching until find something. But yeah,
I definitely believe after all of that there's something, and that image was on my phone, and the fact that I'm female, and it was definitely a female shape. So, yeah.
yeah, yeah. So that's our weird tale of what we experienced. I don't know. Let us know if you've had any strange occurrences sort of like this, and even if you've been to Z Ward, and if when you've been there, anything's happened to you sort of similar, or have you seen or felt like any presence of woman, anything sort of like that. Yeah. So we want to know what you have seen or experienced in any sort of way like that, and yeah.
If you ever get the opportunity, please check out Haunted Horizons. They do not just there, they do Adelaide Jail, they also do Old Tailem Town. She's very knowledgeable, and she keeps it very real. She's not making anything up. There's no gimmicks, there's no nothing. It's what you see is what you get. So please check them out.
Yeah, yeah, definitely go have a look. Go to any one of those locations. We haven't been for the ghost tour in Tailem Town or Adelaide Jail. Been to Adelaide Jail multiple times. Haven't done the ghost tours though, so we might have to do those eventually through Haunted Horizons, and we'll do like separate episodes on Tailem Town and the Adelaide Jail, and see if she shows up again.
Great.
I feel like Tailem Town is really weird.
We'll
like,
do that another time.
but like, yeah.
Get into that another time.
We've been to Tailem Town before. We haven't done the ghost tour, but Tailem Town is really strange, and that will definitely be for another episode. But yeah, if you guys enjoyed this first episode of Paranoid Podcast, make sure to subscribe to the channel. I will be releasing a bunch of short films as well, under Paranoid Productions. And yeah, just hopefully you enjoyed. And anything else before we go?
Make sure if you do like it, you share it with your friends. Cheers.
Yes, yeah, definitely share it around. That would really help out heaps. Thank you very much for listening and watching, if you did both. So, yeah, thank you very much, and we'll see you in the next video.
Bye.